Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Great. Thanks for hopping on for sure. I know you're busy.
No,
Um, and first, let me just apologize for dragging this out. I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to make sure that we had all our ducks in a row and could do the best thing for you. So this is Zach Hoder.
Hi.
Zach, this is Nico.
Hey, Nico.
Um, Zach kind of knows a lot about what you and I've talked about, and we're partners. And I really depend on Zach a lot for research of niches in certain areas. And then the techie side, I told you that I don't do any of the tech part stuff, so I kind of rely on Zach for that. So he was gracious enough to hop on a call. Corey is way underwater. He's got so many things going on. So anyway, Zach graciously agreed to hop on. So I'm just going to let him take over the meeting and we'll just go from there.
okay, sounds good.
Cool. Nico, I was checking out your website, Harvest Energy Solutions. That's awesome, man. How long have you been doing that?
Right under 5 years.
That's so cool. And has it always been roofing, electrical, and solar?
No, so it was strictly solar in the beginning. I've done some roofing for my old pastor. He had a few businesses that he ran, and I kind of just copied and pasted what was successful in his life. So he did solar and roofing, and then subdivisions. Okay, subdivisions comes with a lot of capital, right? So I don't have that, couldn't do that. But what I could do is learn some trades, get good at some things, and then network and put the right people in place. So at this point, I know LaDon was talking about really pushing the electrical. That doesn't make sense to me. Here's why. If I look on Google right now, boom, huge list of electrical companies. There's much less in generators and much less in solar companies. So I feel like that would be a more dominant area to hit, just because there's less, not adversity, but less competition. And I don't even want to call them competition, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, solar is huge. I think the one thing that LaDon was telling me was we wanted to try to hit all three, which is a little bit complicated. So we were saying, hey, let's nail down the one that makes the most sense.
Great.
Now I think that we knew that you had possibly some no compete clauses with maybe your company. We weren't sure about that.
I'm not 100%. I definitely think with the sales side, yeah, they probably had non-competes, but as far as me as install,
I think that's probably why LaDon was leaning more towards like, do we really want to do solar? Because we don't want to get you in trouble with your company, have you lose your job, and
sure.
That. But
yeah, so even if we did, roofing and generators, and we could tie in, right? The generator is electrical, but I just wanted to leave a good identifier of, hey, predominantly what we do is not, the trenching and the dirt work and wiring up new houses. It's going to be generators, panel upgrades, some more of the extensive stuff, and more of repairs than new installs. So I'm not trying to chase the new land developments and new homes and trying to get a whole bunch of jobs. I'm more so looking for the people out in the country, that, hey, I need a generator. I would like some solar, maybe you can wire up my barn while you're out here. That's kind of what I've seen I help people the most and generates the most money.
That makes sense. Okay. No, that's very helpful. And that's why we kind of wanted to get on the call just to make sure. Like you said, I'm just going to share my screen here. And like you said, depending on, what you search, you're right. You're going to get a whole lot of different results, right? If we're looking for an electrician near me versus, a roofer near me. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Versus solar panel installation. And that right there, when you said, generator, when we look at generators, right? You're gonna get a whole different thing that's gonna pop up, right? And so that's why we wanted to nail down what exactly it is that you want to do the most work of, and
sure.
And yes, obviously what makes sense as far as what makes you money, but like knowing that your business is all about, look, we want to get in the door to go install generators. When we're on property, then we can say, hey, you know what, you'd be a perfect fit for solar installation. Have you thought about solar installation?
Yeah.
It's going to be a whole lot more cost effective and environmentally friendly than, a generator. Does that make sense? What's
Yeah.
the easiest foot in the door strategy or yeah, so generators is the thing.
So my sales guys right now, they've all been selling solar. They've kind of branched out and hopped companies, but I just kept a good network of guys. And so what we're finding is that solar is more of a want, which everybody gets that. Okay, that's a want, like it would be nice. Yeah, let's go solar. But a roof is necessary. So they've found that it's much more easy for them to close roofs. And then generators have just been more of a reliable source of backup. So as solar continues to grow, they'll see, okay, well, this is great too. But right now, a lot of people are scared of solar, so we're going to start transitioning over to generators. I know there's a broad reach. I'm not necessarily trying to wear many hats, but it just makes sense as we're helping homeowners. How can I maximize helping you? So whether it's your roof, your insulation, your fence, solar, a standby generator, I want to be able to, and I'm doing this all myself. So I'm getting licensed in all of these. I'm getting certified and trained in all this. So it's more so me running the show front and backwards and kind of just positioning people to bring in the leads. So the SEO for me is less about getting to the top per se and trying to beat out everybody else that's doing similar stuff, because I already have a group full of salesmen that have no problem generating leads and closing deals. So I'm not so much worried about, that bringing in warm leads, hot leads that people really want it. I'm not starving. More so, I wanted the SEO to kind of just do what it does, the organic leads. Hey, people, come on, they find Harvest Energy Solutions. Hey, I like their logo. They're a local company. That's great. So just getting out the normal information that everybody, a successful company has. That's just one area that I haven't dove into too much. And I knew that I'm not even going to try to YouTube and take some online courses to try to figure it out.
Yeah, you got
I'm not great with computers. That's why I'm doing the trades. I'm good with my hands and building stuff. But anyway, so I knew I was going to need help, and that's kind of where we're at. I think here probably, just to give you guys a future idea, in the next 6 months, I may be leaving my W-2 job. So then that non-disclosure and all that stuff will go out the window. I'm not really worried about it at that point. So we also might put in a pin. Go ahead.
No, apologize. I cut you off.
We might put a pin. I think it's great we're meeting today. That way we can kind of have things, have an idea of things. But like I said, if we can kind of narrow down, like you want, narrow down what's our goal, who's our audience in our market, and then the adder stuff kind of comes along with it once we're already on site, like you said. I really think the generators is a good one. Roofing, both of those are more of necessities. The solar and electrical is like, hey, I'll get around to it.
Got it. That right there, that makes complete sense to us, because now we're at that point where that tells the whole story, right? That tells, okay, this is what we need to do. Understanding that, when there's a hole in your roof, it's not a want.
Yeah.
Right. Understanding that, especially maybe down there in Tornado Alley, right? Like if power goes out, a generator is more than just a nice thing to have. It's something that's going to be totally. That's where we go. Okay, well, that's probably, and knowing that your sales team is even on board with that. They're like, look, roofing is easy to sell. Generators are a little bit easier to sell. Solar is not so much, right? That then, okay, that's probably where we want to aim. Now,
Yeah.
also knowing that you in 6 months, the plan is, hey, I'm going to be leaving my W-2. And so 6 months from now, I'd like to be in a position where solar is picking up and solar is doing what we need it to.
Sure.
That
Because I
also,
mean, that's how we started, and that's still the main generator of income right now, is the solar. So it's not necessary; it's just dying down, and we see the benefits of moving over, like you described. But yeah, I definitely want to keep solar in the loop.
okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So there are a lot of different ways that we can help you do that. And again, if we're looking at a 6-month plan where we're like, in 6 months from now, here's our goal, we want to be able to say, okay, again, maybe it's not about outranking, but it's definitely about ranking somewhere, right? Right now,
Yeah.
if we do a search for Harvest Solutions, for an electrician, it's not going to be found anywhere, right? You're nowhere.
It's not on anywhere. I just built a landing site. And
Yeah. And so then that becomes, okay, well, if we're talking generator sales, right? Again, we're not listed anywhere. And so if that's the plan, then in 6 months, we would like to at least be listed here. Because LaDon probably explained this, but when someone does a search like this for electrician near me or generator near me or roofer, I can show you right now, if you'd like how many people are searching those very keywords, how many people are typing that into their computer in a given area over a month's time. And I'm sure it's in the hundreds if we're talking electrical and, solar and roofer. And what we know is statistically, we just know it. Like 60% of the people who do a search like this, they are going to call at least these 3-4 companies. And then they might call, the first 3 or 4 down here. So to put yourself there, we never talk about ranking number 1, because that's not what matters. We just want to be in the running so that people even see us and call us. And you know what I mean?
Yep. Certainly.
So, and the site that you have right now, like you said, it's just a landing page, which is a really, really great start. But Google has this thing, it's called the algorithm, but it's basically just a set of rules. And the more of those rules you keep, that's what gets you placed right there in the top spot, right? The number 1 rule is content.
Sorry to interrupt, even the layout of the website.
The layout does matter. Yeah, it is one of the rules to make sure it's nice. It's a nice layout, but when I say layout, what I mean is does this link to an inner service page? Does that inner service page link to another service page? Does that service page link back to the home page? So the structure of the site, right? And even the images of the site. Right now, this image is called temp image YE5AGB. Google literally reads the image on your site and it goes, okay, someone is looking for an electrician, and it reads everything about your site. It says, this is a picture of temp image YE5AV. Google goes, I don't know what that is, but it's definitely not an electrician. It's definitely not a generator.
Because even the photos aren't linked to the description of the service.
Correct. And the image, the file of this image, whoever added this image, it was on your desktop and that was the name of the picture.
Yeah.
So we want that, even small stuff like that you don't think about matters. Plus, Google reads your site and it goes, okay, these guys have a grand total of maybe 150 words, 200 words on their page. Let's just take a look at one of your other guys. These guys, if we look at their website and their homepage, you see how much more content? Google reads this site and goes, oh, look, all of this content. And that's why this site will outrank your site all day long, because it has more content, right? We can also see this. You see how it's got service pages for all of these different services. And yours, we don't have any service pages. I
got a very basic,
Yeah. So if we want to get put in there for electrical, again, we're going to have to compete. And I know that LaDon talked to you a little bit about this. It's kind of hard to rank a one website for 3 major services like that. We can do it, but your website becomes massive, right? Because look at this, right? They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's solar, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 different services, and that's just in the electrical niche, right? If we started talking about roofers and we look at a roofing website, You know, they need to have commercial roofing services, residential roofing services. I even think they need to have like roofing repair, right? Repair, like just every possible thing we think somebody might search. We want to put that on our site so that when someone does a search, Google reads our site and goes, "Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's what that website's about."
sure. Okay.
Yeah. So sorry, I don't want to dive too deep into the nitty gritty, but
No,
just
you're fine. That's good information. I'm running.
yeah, that's what we want. That's what it takes to kind of to rank a site. And so again, it's kind of nice that we have like a 6-month window, like you say.
Mhm.
You know, they say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best
Sure.
time is right now, right?
Yep.
If we've got that time to get you where we need to get you, then that becomes really.
Okay.
What questions do you have?
Um,
I know that I threw a lot at you.
no, you're fine. No specific questions to what you just spoke on. I mean, I grasp the intent of what you're saying, and the necessary, or the need of everything to make it a successful top ranking site. So I get it. And that's definitely what I want. Um, I think, like you said, we got the 6 months. Maybe we can roll some money and some time into it. Get some leeway, get the ground moving a little bit, and then once I get closer to um, transitioning out of my W-2, we can just hit it full force and be like, okay, well, let's dump another 2 grand into this. And I mean, you let me know how you want to move forward, but
Yeah. Well, I would say,
kind of thinking.
yeah. So your domain right now, harvestenergy.solutions, that's a domain name that lends itself really well to the idea of solar.
Mhm.
But if right now you're like, we want to set up a roofing thing, I would recommend having a different site that
An
has,
alternate site.
yeah, that has roofing in it. And within roofing, kind of like we saw right here with these guys, we can have service pages that would include, roofing repair, storm repair for roofs, and then solar panels for roofs. Like we could start incorporating some elements of that solar if that's kind of what we're wanting to do.
Yeah, I mean, even you talk about algorithms. I don't even know if that's the right term for what I'm trying to say, but even like on YouTube, there may be one person with multiple profiles sharing the same videos just so they can get more reach,
Yeah,
more opportunity.
that's exactly.
So, I mean, I get having multiple sites. I'm trying to also stay within my means of what I can control. So,
Absolutely. I mean, and I think if we did something like, whatever the naming convention it is that we use, right? Like Lubbock roofing or whatever we decide to call it. Again, on the site, we can put things like we can make it so that it is very obviously a roofing site, but then having entire pages devoted to solar panel installation, right, for your roof, right? We can create YouTube channels like that for you. We can create an entire system like that for you, where we create a brand new Facebook page, a brand new YouTube channel. And if you have any content and you provide that for us, we can post it for you. We can add on for you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what I'm kind of getting is that we'll have maybe 2 or 3 sites, and each site has a main point of service, while they all offer the same services.
Yes and no. There's a few different ways to do that. That is definitely one way that we could do it. But what I'm saying, unless you have a massive budget, that may not make sense for you right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about, okay, let's think smart. Let's think 6 months down the road. What are we going to want to do? What I've heard you say is roofing makes the most sense because your sales team has said that. We know electrician is going to be a little bit harder to rank for. So if we start with a roofing site that has some elements of, solar panel in it. That
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is roofing and solar panels make sense, just like electrician solar panels would make sense. Those make sense to have one website for. We can do that.
Okay.
But we would craft the site so that we're going after roofing a lot. Or no?
Well,
Have I
as we're talking about it, so the industry of roofing as a whole is very they don't have a lot of standards. Basically, anybody can go out, get a contractor's license, and say, I'm going to do your roof. So there's tons of people roofing. They're just roofing everywhere. I'll travel. I'll go to any state you want, get 4 or 5 roofs. I'm out there for a week. And so I just worry that even though we made the points of it's easier to sell the roof, let's focus on, what's easy and what's in demand. Setting yourself somewhat apart, the generators is really, I think, is going to be a big hit.
Perfect. Then we can totally go after generator sales at that. But then you're right. At that point, then it's a website about generators, and that would make a really good, easy dovetail to solar. Again, setting us up maybe for that 6-month mark when we're ready to transition over. But if it's about generator sales, I mean, like, let me just show you an example here. Okay, you ready? Okay. Here's Electrician Lubbock Pro. This is when someone does a search for generator, right? Here, a generator electrician. There's the same company, a different search result, because they set themselves up to be not just an electrician, but they obviously also sell generators, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So something like that, where if like, now let's just make the site about, we are the generator masters in this area.
Yeah. Right? Well, it all falls, I mean, solar and the generators both fall under electrical as an umbrella. You guys got my wheels turning now.
Here's something to think about. A lot of times when we're talking with clients, that's one of the reasons we're trying to kind of nail you down as to a service, because here's the deal. You're right. We could have a big umbrella site for electrician.
Yeah.
But now we're trying to rank for all things electrical. We have built sites in the past where it's like solely electrician. Let me give you an example, okay? I don't know if you've ever heard of stump grinding.
Nope. Well, I mean, like the process, yes.
Yeah. So here's a client that we have that does landscaping, big general. And there's a billion things you can do as a landscaper. But this client held down and said, what is it you want to do? And they're like, I would love to corner the market on stump grinding. So we said, cool, let's just build a website about that one thing, stump grinding. Okay. It was much easier to rank for because no one was trying to rank for stump grinding.
Oh yeah, I've never heard of a website that's just stump grinding.
Yeah, electrician is a big, broad search term, and there's so many things that could mean. But if we're like, let's just focus on generator sales, generator repairs, generator installation, that's a little bit easier to. Now, again, I have not done the research. I don't want to make a promise I can't keep, on and I can't keep. So we would want to do some research and give you a more whatever. But today's call was to help narrow down and kind of help you understand that when we narrow down like that, often it's the quickest way to those jobs.
Yeah.
Now down the road,
I understand.
we can build the site out and we can broaden the site. But
yeah, no, I love that. That was great. Yeah, so that does make sense then, generators, because predominantly the electrical portion, I would like to push generators and solar. And being that we're waiting, about 6 months or whatever for the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. And let me just do something here really quick. Let me open up this little tool. It's kind of neat because it gives us, so we talk about generator sales, generator installation. We just start putting in a bunch of keywords that people might look for, right? Generator, repair, backup, generator, backup, generator, installation. What are the keywords we think people might search here? generator, electrician,
Sure.
Let's just kind of see what Google tells us people might be looking for. Whole house, best whole house generator installers near me. Wow, that's a mouthful. Let's copy that, put that in there. We start doing stuff like this, and we can ask this tool kind of change, and we say, Lubbock, what other areas do you serve?
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, I had a call come in.
Oh, totally fine. What other areas do you serve besides Lubbock? Or is it primarily Lubbock?
Sorry, say again.
What other areas do you serve outside of Lubbock?
Typically a 2-hour radius, so all the way to Abilene, Amarillo, Midland, Odessa area.
You said Amarillo, Texas. All this area, okay. You said Midland?
Midland, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if we start looking at that and we say, okay, now tell me, here's what Google shows us. And again, we've got to be careful because this is just a tool that gives us approximation. But if you start seeing here, then we're talking every single month, there are dozens of people doing a search like that in that area.
Yeah.
And we can see this kind of fluctuates based on, time of year or whatever, but we're right here and it's still pretty high. It's gonna really peak here in October, right about the time you're ready for it to be done, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So we know that people are searching for generators, doing searches like this, right? So we know it's viable. We know it's going to be around for a while. So it makes sense maybe to create a generator site. Again, that would mention electrical. We would still include information about all the other services, but the bulk of what we do might just be about generator sales, generator installation, generator repair. If that's what we're trying to gear up for.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
Kind of just taking notes right now, things to revisit and thoughts and ponder on.
Okay. Well, wonderful. I mean, we would love to help out if that makes sense for you. That's something that we are good at, something we know how to do. And again, if you got 6 months, I wouldn't let too much time pass before you make a decision. I just, once you understand kind of, all right, I know it's being searched. I know I've got a 6-month window to kind of pick things up, to kind of get in there, because it really does. Building a site isn't a snap of a finger and boom, you're ranking. It is something that's called SEO, search engine optimization. Fancy way of saying, being found in a Google search.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time. I wish I had a magic wand. I can just go, boom, you're ranked, but it does take time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? We got to play the Google algorithm game. We got to make sure that our content is on point, that we're creating content constantly every single month, so that by the time October hits or whenever it is, where we're June, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, November, December, that we're ready to go.
So let me ask you this. What would be a ballpark figure of an initial investment?
That's a really great question. If we're talking about building a brand new site and doing SEO on it, that's a different figure. Ballpark, I need to look, because LaDon and I kind of take a more diagnostic approach. We don't just say, oh, here you go. It's kind of like if you went to a doctor and told them you had a stomach ache and they just threw a bottle of pills at you. I think a lot of marketing companies are like that, unfortunately, and that's called medical malpractice. And we want to practice marketing malpractice. But we definitely like to do research before we just quote. I will tell you that baseline pricing, a new website's around $2,000. SEO, monthly SEO investment is around $1,000. Again, those are our minimums. We're never going to gouge you, but what we again would do is do deep research, hand you our research findings and say, okay, based on all of your competition, based on everything else in this area, where you want to be, here's how long we think it's probably going to take to get something ranked, and here's how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
Tell me, when I say those prices, how does that fit into your budget?
The monthly is a little higher than I would like, just because, you know, we're still getting a couple different areas rolling. So it's not like, even though I have confidence in my salesmen and I really think it's going to be lucrative. You know, it's going to be good, and it's going to be easy in some fashions. We're still getting started. We're still kicking things off. There's still a lot of people involved.
Sure.
You know, it's like, how do I create margin for that?
Gotcha. Totally understood. Totally understood. And that, I appreciate your honesty. Yeah, and that's why we wanted to be really upfront with you too.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else, getting a website up at least is a good first step. But yeah, I would definitely recommend if that's something you're wanting to do. And maybe down the road when sales are better, then we revisit SEO or how.
What could we do with the current site and maybe just benefit from that at all? Because I don't want to lose that on that. You know, that was $1,500.
Absolutely.
It's decent. I understand it's copy and paste, but it looks pretty good. Of course, there needs to be more content, you know, lettering as well as pictures and such.
Yeah. Yeah, for us, again, when we take over, our pricing is almost identical, like a new site build to a redesign, because we are literally going to have to add about 10 pages of content here and go in and optimize it, like take it, using the same pictures, but renaming them, like going through every single thing. When we build websites, we don't just put together websites. We want to make sure that the websites we build are already SEO optimized on the front end. So things like you saw with the pictures and adding content. There's some maps we'd want to add here and some technical stuff that's going to get your site noticed by Google. We just build SEO optimized sites when we go right from the get-go. Probably going to be about that same price to redesign the site. And then again, SEO, it would be the same price that way, just because we would probably, it's a really good name for generators, by the way, harvestenergy.solutions. That's a great name. We would just make sure that generators is featured on the site and then feed it SEO.
Okay. That sounds good. I got some notes here. Yeah, well, let me get with some people I do business with, and kind of pitch them the idea, see what they think. Wonderful. And pray about it, of course, and then I'll reach back out to LaDon.
Very cool, very cool. Is there a time that maybe LaDon can reach back out to you if we don't hear from you?
What's today's Monday of next week.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
If we can hear from you, then LaDon will reach out.
Oh, is it better for me to call you in the morning or like 5-ish, or what's your schedule look like? Afternoon? You told me after 2 o'clock at some point. I know that was
typically after 2 I have free time. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just reach back out to you. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, text me, call me, whatever. Okay. And I really felt like getting Zach on here would kind of be a little more the bigger picture. You could see the bigger picture, because that's,
there was more in-depth information. So I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, that's really what we're about, is down the road, not just throwing a site up and